I need Anton Sokolov, but he's missing. Held by another inventor named Kirin Jindosh, who no doubt wants whatever secrets Sokolov holds in his head. Jindosh is the mad inventor who armed Karnaca with clockwork killing machines, the city where I grew up and trained, where I won the Duke's tournament when I was still a boy. They say the clockwork soldiers are the equal of Karnaca's best fighters now. I'm going to put that to the test. Rescue one genius and cage the other before he creates an army of clockwork soldiers.
And so with Hypatia taken care of, it is time to deal with Jindosh. As usual, we'll go to this travelogue in the beginning. I quite like it, actually. It's fun to see a little bit of extra, well, monologue, I suppose, from the point of view of Corvo / Emily. So, it's like a summary of what happened and what is coming. I miss my daughter, Corvo says. I think the real, within quotation marks, hero of this story should probably Emily. It makes more sense. It has more of a story flow and cycle that she is now the one saving her father.
Talk to Hypatia before we head out. She's taken one of the rooms, just for a while, I think. Needed to be away from Admire.
If you play as Corvo again, it feels like it's just the same thing again. Time to go rescue my daughter again from someone evil who's taken over the crown.
Keep me from leaving.
That said, I genuinely do enjoy playing as Corvo.
Stay with me a moment.
Hypatia, what can you remember? I need to find Anton Sokolov. He might be the key to unraveling the Duke's plans.
My memories are disjointed. The Duke is close to his grand inventor, Kirin Jindosh. But that man has the empathy of a mantis. He seems to both admire and despise Sokolov. We visited Aramis Stilton. I liked him. But something bad happened. Just snatches of memory. Sorry.
You should rest easy for a while. Maybe some of that will help.
I hope so. I'm not sure I even fully understand what you did for me, but I owe you for helping me at Admire. Thank you.
The hope is, of course, that the serum that we made, the counter cure, has actually freed Hypatia from the Crown Killer, from Grim Alex. How much she exactly ends up remembering about what she did is unknown, but
up on deck.
I suppose she won't be the only one with a past she prefers not to remember.
Ramsey and the Crown Killer. 2 pieces of the puzzle. More to go. Hypatia did terrible things under the influence of her formula, but she's free now. We'll find you, Anton. Jindosh invented the Silvergraph. Clever man. His invention's likely to outlive him. Clockwork soldiers must cost a fortune. If Jindosh finds a way around that, he'll make an army.
This node is particularly useful to figure out how to actually fight the Clockwork soldiers. We'll go over them more as we actually face one.
Jindosh lives in Upper Aventa.
But we'll try to avoid them if we can.
I'll have to take the carriage to reach his mansion.
If you keep coming up here in Megan's little area every now and then, you start to get more and more notes of who she is and what she's about. At the end of the playthrough on High Chaos, we found out exactly who she is. And, well, already now you can start putting pieces together if you played the DLC from Dishonored 1. We had a bit of a side quest to do, which is find this crank wheel. There are multiple crank wheels around the boat, one in the very room close to where we found the maps and notes and stuff. But we might as well grab this one. There is a leak in the basement. I don't think this actually does anything. There's no real reward for this little side quest. But hey, if we're gonna drive around in this boat, ride around I guess, then it's probably good to fix it. There you go.
Let's hope your friend doesn't sink the boat while we're gone. Ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's get underway.
On with the mask. It looks slightly different than it did in Dishonored 1.
Jindosh is important to the Duke's inner circle. The Grand Guard watches his mansion, harassing people who look like trouble.
You said there's a wall of light cutting off access to the carriage station.
Yes, but there's a black market shop nearby. They sell on the sly. Ever use a rewiring tool?
Yes, but it's been years.
Good. Get past the wall of light, then ride the carriage to where Jindosh lives. And there's a reason people are afraid of his mansion.
I'll see you after it's done.
Corvo, take care of this crazy man and his clockwork soldiers, then bring Sokolov back. He means a lot to me.
This mission is one of the larger ones, particularly because it is sort of split into 3 major areas. We start down here in the lower Aventa district, which is pretty sizable on its own. Later on we'll move to the upper Aventa district, and finally into the actual Clockwork Mansion itself.
So-called royal protector Corvo escaped, and he's here among us. I'm sure of it, scheming and hiding. Be vigilant. Your weight in silver.
Reeks. Gotta get a spare uniform.
The latest patch have fixed the loudspeakers, thankfully.
Something bad.
I've seen something. Now we're all on edge. My heart can't take much more of this.
There's a fair chunk of guards in this area, so you kinda have to play it a little bit safe. But as always, moving up high is the best way to avoid them all. No one really looks up. This is one of the lessons you learn during the tutorial, as Corvo tells Emily. Stay high and stay in the cover and in the shadows. We're gonna go straight here, immediately. For the most valuable part of the entire area, honestly. The Outsider Shrine. Let's hear a story from the Outsider.
I'll tell you a story about Kirin Jindosh, a prodigy from Karnaca. Self-taught, he was hailed by the Academy of Natural Philosophy as a genius who would surpass Sokolov and bring about an age of enlightenment. But just 2 years after his arrival, he was banned from the Academy for life, for reasons that are still not public. When they deported him, he left behind a machine that drank seawater, playing music that brought listeners to tears. They promptly took it apart, and it has never worked since.
There is 2 different stories you can tell. One on low chaos and one on high chaos, as far as I can tell. This one is a little bit more interesting and kind of almost is more fascinating about what exactly kind of a man Jindosh is. Jindosh is an interesting villain, I suppose we call him a villain. First of all, we're not going to go down there until we absolutely need to. Generally, bloodflies and stuff are quite annoying. It's not too bad, especially if you have the right bone charms, but we're going to wait until we need to go there to sort it out. there's a couple more of the things we want to fix out here first.
Fierce winds and deep silver islands. Leave the ocean for those with no other choice.
I do love the loudspeakers, and they set a good atmosphere, which is why I was so annoyed or sad that one of the recent patches just broke them and they didn't work. Glad it's working now again. Jindosh is an kind of evil and ruthless man, but honestly so was Sokolov, if you remember from Dishonored 1. He wasn't particularly super nice. They sort of... not retcon him, but he's sort of softened in his old age, and they don't mention some of the things he did in Dishonored 1. Arguably, Karen Jindosh could end up having the same sort of effect on the world, but he's currently against us. Strong arms. I've been waiting for this bone charm a lot. This little note sort of tells you the story of exactly why there is a dead guard on the ground. And that name, Brianna Ashworth. We're gonna hear more in the future. Those carriageways are electrified, we can't really go there, and most of that area is guarded by guards. So we're gonna have to go around, which usually means above. Increasing the range on Blink is very useful. This little apartment holds the second painting, this one of the Spy Master, aka the Lord Regent from Dishonored 1. More so than that, there's another bone charm here. For some reason you can grab it through the glass. That's some sort of magic right there. But that was two pretty good bone charms actually, so let's equip them. And also realize that we probably have to upgrade how many we can carry. Strong arms, very useful, you choke people out faster. With only one of them, it's only slightly noticeable, but once we start crafting bone charms, it's gonna be much more noticeable. An expansive spirit is just more mana, it's quite nice. Other than that, there's not much exciting in this particular apartment, but that still looks creepy to me, that grilled beast of whatever it is. Anyway, the most important thing in this building is probably in here, aside from the bone charms and stuff. This apartment is home of one of the regenters, or whatever they were calling themselves, people who were opposed to Emily, and in fact in favor of the Lord Regent, which is why on the top floor you could actually see the photo of the, or painting of the Spy Master. Which means I feel pretty much zero guilt robbing the place. Three, one, and then a smudge. In the note it said that the code is in the usual place, so here it is. As long as we know two of the numbers, we really can just pick one and then just roll until we find the other one. Yes, there we go, the Regenters. This is a note of what they've been up to. Generally, they disliked Emily and were in favor of the Lord Regent. They were quite happy with Duke Luca Bell and probably helped him out. So, you know, good riddance.